Hi, I'm Marcus with SpeakYourMindMethod.com. So while I, as a speech coach, am not as adamant about having perfect breathing technique as some coaches are, there is still tremendous value in getting the basics right, like breathing properly, breathing correctly. And this is especially true if you tend to always breathe in a very shallow or panicky sort of way. So in today's video, I'm going to show you 3 breathing mistakes to avoid. Plus, I'm then going to show you how to actually breathe correctly. And there's one tip, one technique in particular that I'm going to show you that I think you're going to find tremendously helpful. Before we do that though, I want to let you know about my Stop Stuttering workshop. This is an in-depth training that will give you a step-by-step plan, a systematic daily routine, and it'll just help you to understand the process of how to actually overcome stuttering. So I'll leave a link in the description below. It's 100% free, so be sure to check it out before you head out. All right, let's dive into the content. The first breathing mistake to avoid is breathing from your throat. What I mean by this is you don't want to breathe like this, right? Where it's just all that air in the back of your throat. And see, that it kind of puts me out of breath. It introduces unnecessary stress. And even just by doing that, I feel more stressed and I don't feel as comfortable. And I feel like there's that potential to stutter and block just by the fact that I was breathing in this kind of way, right? Where it's hitting the back of your throat and it's tensing up the back of your throat. The reason you don't want to breathe from the back of your throat is because that will so often, it'll turn on the panic switch and you'll start to stumble over your words. You won't be as relaxed. You'll be a bit more choppy because the breath itself is setting you up to fail. So that is mistake number 1. Don't breathe, from the back of your throat. Now, mistake number 2 is waiting to breathe until you're almost out of breath. So this is a big problem because what will often happen is you kind of intuitively know that if you breathe in, if you take a deep breath, it kind of creates in the wrong way. If you take that deep breath in the wrong way, it kind of creates that extra tension. So then what do? To counterbalance that, you speak until you're basically out of air and you don't breathe in because you're afraid then that'll lead you into a stutter. But what you're doing is also setting yourself up to fail if you are using every last ounce of air and you're not resetting in a rhythmic, flowing type of way. So don't wait to breathe until you're out of air. Don't keep talking like this and talking and you just kind of, and then it forces you to take that throaty breath, right? So you don't want to do that. Instead, you want to focus on speaking in shorter phrases, right? Speaking in shorter phrases, take a nice relaxed breath, and then talk like this. Take another breath. Again, these aren't deep throat breaths, and I'll get into exactly what I'm doing here when we get to the positives of how to actually breathe. But I got one more mistake that I want to share with you here, and that mistake is either breathing too shallowly or too deeply. Now, we've already talked about breathing in too deeply, right, through the back of your throat, and we don't do that because that will create unnecessary tension. It can turn on the panic switch, and it'll just make you a lot more uncomfortable and susceptible to stuttering and blocking. Now, shallow breaths are just as problematic because what is happening when you breathe very shallowly is your brain lacks oxygen. Your brain needs oxygen to speak fluently. Your brain needs oxygen to develop the new habits and the skills that you're learning, those fluency patterns and those fluency skills, right? And if you don't give your brain enough oxygen and you're always breathing in a very shallow manner, then what's going to happen is your brain is going to revert to whatever it is used to. It's going to revert to the old habits of stuttering because that is what is easiest for your brain to access when it doesn't have enough air. So those are the 2 pulls. Don't breathe too deeply. Don't take, throat breaths like that. And don't also breathe too shallowly where you're just barely breathing and you feel like you're always running out of air because then your brain doesn't have the oxygen it needs to really build those new fluency habits. All right, now let's talk about what to do, how to actually breathe correctly. Now, there's an incredibly powerful tip that I'm very excited to share with you. And I learned this from my singing coach, Tyler Weissong. when I was learning how to sing and how to improve my vocal skills. And what this is you want to think that you're breathing, and you want to sort of direct the breath to be felt in the front of your mouth. And I'm going to call this the lip breathing technique, because you're sort of feeling the breath on your lips, not in the back of your throat. So a throat breath, is what we have been doing, right? Where you just feel everything in the back of your throat. Versus how you want to breathe is you want to feel the cold air in the front of your mouth. So try this at home. Go where you just feel it in the front of your mouth, just on the inside of your lips, just right. You don't feel it in the back of your throat. The back of your throat feels calm, it feels relaxed. The breath is happening, that cold air in the front of your mouth. This is a game changer, because now your throat doesn't have all that excess tension from breathing in this kind of panicky type of way. Instead, I breathe in here and everything is still relaxed back here. But I'm still getting easily enough air to speak fluently and rhythmically. And then I just breathe in like that. I feel that cold air in the front of my mouth, not in the back. And then you just speak on that. Now, another exercise that can help you to lock this in, and that I encourage you to add to your daily routine, is you want to breathe in through the front of your mouth like I just showed you. Take that lip breath. And then exhale on an S consonant. So it looks like this. Now, I want you to exhale on that S consonant, because the S, the amount of air that comes out of an S, is very close to the amount of air that you will use when you speak. So this is emulating the airflow of speech. And so just practice this. Breathe in through the front of your mouth where you feel the cold air, and then right, and just do that, and this will also help you relax, and it'll just calm you down. It's almost a meditative breathing exercise. Now, I know I touched on this earlier, but again, if you are somebody who tends to always feel like you're running out of breath, then what you want to do is learn to speak in shorter phrases, in shorter blocks. Don't wait to take a breath until you're completely out of air. Instead, breathe rhythmically. Start that flow, create that rhythm. Start that flow, create that rhythm, and then breathe through the front of your mouth, and then speak again, and then breathe again, and then speak again. It's very fluid, very relaxed. So, my friend, those are some tips, some guidelines for how to not breathe, what mistakes to avoid, and also how to breathe correctly and properly. Now, if you found this helpful and you are ready to get yourself a systematic step-by-step plan, then go check out my Stop Stuttering workshop. This is an in-depth training that will walk you through the entire process of understanding the science, of building your daily routine, of really setting yourself up to completely defeat stuttering and build a life of incredible fluency and confidence. So it's 100% free. I'll leave a link in the description below, so be sure to check that out before you head out. Thank you so much for watching, my friend. I'll see you next time.